She made me lift up my hoodie, showing that I had nothing.
Writing was the most difficult thing.
In the course of, I think, a week, I lost 13 kilograms.
They can learn a structure and just plug words into it and get a high score, which is...
I took the exam 20 times and I remember each question that I had.
Why am I so ugly in this picture?
It felt as if something inside me broke.
I texted my curator, Miss Tamiris, first.
I saw 8 and I couldn't even say a word.
Зая, ты окончательно сошла с ума. That's the first thing that I think. Zaya, you've gone crazy.
The first person who actually saw my test score was my whole family, but not me.
Сен очлаган кыз емессің ба, я? IELTS experts don't even know. Никаких лайфхаков, ребята, нет, окей? Друзья, всем добро пожаловать в наш второй выпуск подкаста IELTS Success. Я вас очень рада здесь видеть. Напоминаю, что цель этого подкаста — собрать людей, которые достигли определенных высот в сфере IELTS за этим круглым столом, чтобы мы все поделились своим личным опытом, советами, которые могут помочь вам в успешной сдаче IELTS. Напоминаю еще раз, что за этим круглым столом сидят не эксперты IELTS, просто люди, которые получили высокие баллы с первого раза, и они поделятся своим личным мнением. Что ж, давайте начнем с introduction. Пусть каждый гость познакомит сам себя. Мирей, давайте начнем с вас.
Hello, my name is Mirei. I currently finished 11th grade and I got an 8.5 in the IELTS test.
From the first try.
From the first try.
Oh my god, 8.5 from the first try.
Всем привет, меня зовут Мансур, я окончил школу и теперь подаюсь в университет, и я получил 8.0 по IELTS.
С первого раза?
Да.
Всем привет, меня зовут Аяулум, я ученица, будущая ученица 11 класса, и я с первого раза получила 7.5 по IELTS exam.
Hello everyone, my name is also Ayaulam and I'm also going to 11th grade next year. I got 8.5 from the first try too.
That's amazing, guys. So 8.5, 8, 7.5 from the first try. Guys, why did you need the IELTS exam?
I took it to get into my dream university, which is required for foreign unis.
I passed IELTS exam to apply to universities. Firstly, it was needed to apply for a pilot, so it was required to have 6.0. So I have 8. I think I'm a future pilot. Yeah.
Great. Miri, what's your major? What's your future major?
To be honest, I'm not decided, but I think I will go into the physics or mathematics sphere.
Okay. Ayolam?
So I decided to pass this exam because of my dream to be a student in a university in USA, but with the current situation, I decided to change my decision. So right now, I'm mostly focusing on studying abroad in South Korea. So yeah.
And what about the major? What major are you thinking of?
It might be a little bit strange, but I want to become an economist. So
that's an interesting major.
Yeah.
That's a really difficult one as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying my best to
Good
become.
luck.
As everyone here, I also want to study abroad and that's the reason why I took the exam. I'm thinking of majoring in computer science, but I'm not really sure yet. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So attaining such a high score from the first try sounds incredible. You must have had many difficulties and challenges on the way. What was the most difficult thing that you've encountered while preparing for the exam?
I think I can start. So the most difficult thing was to manage my time. Time managing is a crazy thing when you are preparing for something this hard as IELTS. So it was pretty hard for me to focus on my school studying and the IELTS course. But with the help of my teachers and ChatGPT, I actually managed to somehow pass it through. And right now, it is pretty much good. Yeah.
Time management was the most difficult thing. What about for you guys? What was the most difficult thing?
When preparing, I think discipline was the hardest thing because I'm not a very consistent person by nature. So on some days I studied 6 hours, on other days I didn't study at all. And this journey really taught me how to gather myself.
So it was hard for me to get some free time for preparing for IELTS, because I've been preparing for UNT and SAT together with IELTS. So it was very hard to me to get some time for them. So I would say time management was the hardest thing for me.
It must have been crazy. Can you imagine UNT, SAT, and IELTS all? That's like, I wonder how you didn't go crazy at. Ayolam, what about for you? What was the most difficult thing?
For me, in the process of whole preparation, writing was the most difficult thing. Especially writing 2 whole essays in a span of 60 minutes was like really bewildering to me. And yeah, I can say it's the most difficult part.
What is the one piece of advice that helped you improve your writing?
For me, it was the structure that you provided us with in the platform. So before, I didn't know how to write like structured essay, and then you provided all the parts that we need to write an actually good essay. So for example, in the introduction you have overview, an explanation, and your thesis, and this was really helpful for me, and it went throughout the whole essay, so it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so one thing that I'm really proud of is that we can give you the ready structure, like the architecture of thinking for writing, because when I was preparing for the IELTS exam myself, I didn't have this. We built this from zero. So Ayolam, for you, the most difficult thing in IELTS, the most difficult skill was writing.
Yes.
What about for you guys? What was the most difficult skill?
Well, let me start. In IELTS writing, it was very hard for me to find some academic words. So in this course, I've learned a lot of vocabulary, academic vocabulary. Also, there were some flexible sentence starters, which were very useful in using in writing a writing task 2 essay. Also, analyzing a graph was very easy, because my teacher taught me a lot of things about this hard question.
Okay, Miri, what about for you? What was the most difficult skill?
I feel like unanimously we can all agree that writing is the hardest part of the test. And what helped me was, as Ayola mentioned, the structure you provided. But a lot of students, they fall into this trap of thinking that they can learn a structure and just plug words into it and get a high score, which is absolutely not true, because we have criteria like coherence and cohesion. And in the platform, you also provided do's and don'ts, which I actually found more helpful than this ready-made structure.
Okay, so writing is actually really difficult. Do you remember the question that you had?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so I always start with part 2, because writing task 2 weighs twice as much. And I had a topic about like practical work being more valuable than qualified specialists. And actually, on your platform, I got a similar question, so I had already exposure to it, and I had my ready-made arguments. For part 1, I got a horrible task. I know we always hope for a line graph. I got a bar chart with like 4 categories. And because I spent too much time on perfecting my task 2, I had 13 minutes left to write my task 1. And after actually taking my test, I requested a score breakdown. And you can see just how much my task 2 was better than my task 1.
Okay, guys, what about you? Because you took the exam only once. You must remember your questions, right?
I remember my part 2 being about imprisonment and rehabilitation. I was actually exposed to this topic before as well, because I did some practice myself before that, so I remembered some really good vocabulary, and I used it, and I think it really helped me to get the score that I got. Yeah, I actually, at first, I really hoped for decent score, like 6.5 was not good enough, but 7.0 was like the bare minimum for me. And then I got 7.5, and I was really glad with my score.
So what question type did you have in task 2?
Well, I think it was this, I don't really remember.
Opinion, discussion?
Yeah, I think it was discussion.
Discuss both views and give your own opinion? Okay. So what about you guys? What kind of question did you have? What was like the strangest question maybe in other skills that you did not expect in your IELTS and you like encountered it?
Well, I didn't have any strange things in my writing test. So the funny things is that I went to a bathroom when I was taking writing. So like I've lost my 5 minutes, about 5 minutes, some time. So I panicked at the time. I was thinking like how should I write this 400 words for these two tasks. It was really hard for me at the time. I told myself focus on this question. I couldn't even understand this question, so I was sitting there maybe 2 or 3 minutes just looking at the question. So I've lost maybe some 7 or 10 minutes. So after that, I started very fastly writing. I haven't even checked it after that, after writing it. So I was very panicking about this, yeah.
Я удивляюсь, Монстр, я сдавала IELTS 20 раз, да, и казалось бы, что вот каждый раз, когда ты сдаешь IELTS, все привычнее становится этот экзамен, что ты не стрессуешь, ты заходишь на него, на чили, на расслабоне, но за эти 20 раз я ни разу, даже в 11 лет, я не пошла в уборную, я очень сильно удивляюсь, как вы умудрились найти время пойти в уборную, еще и в райтинге. На самом деле, может показаться то, что когда мы говорим или потеряла минуту, потеряла 2 минуты, да, для зрителей, для обычных людей может быть, минута-2, что-то такое, да, но в райтинге каждая, не то что минута, каждая миллисекунда, она важна, потому что ты должен написать целое эссе, ты должен его проверить, ты должен написать аргументированное эссе в writing task 2, ты должен написать структурированный report в task 1, и каждая секунда, она важна, поэтому, когда мы говорим то, что я потерял минуту, это уже очень о многом говорит. Айолом, были ли у вас вопросы, которые заставили вас, не знаю, прийти в шок, не знаю, вы не ожидали этого вопроса на
Да,
IELTS?
у меня был. So the question was in the writing section. So the first one, oh my god, I actually got the bar. Like
Bar chart?
yeah, bar chart, and it was about так, о чем это было? Про японцев в Токио и в Кёто, которые купили себе телевизор, и те, которые купили себе микроволновку. У кого типа лучше с бюджетом? Вот надо было это сравнить. It was so strange for me. I was at first like, what do you mean? Типа микроволновка и телевизор. Почему? Мне было очень прикольно, по сути, на такую вот question, типа, отвечать, вот, но было трудновато, если честно. Во втором у меня было связано с экологией, это было очень просто, имею в виду, да.
I still vividly remember the question. I took the exam 20 times, and I remember each question that I had in the 20 times. You wouldn't believe this. But I always would have, I've never, I'd always have something like opinion, discussion, advantages and disadvantages. Double question I had only twice. And the first time was when I was 11 years old. Yes, I still remember the question that I had when I was 11 years old. The last exam that I had when I got my overall 9, we're going to talk about this later, but I went to the exam. I was completely angry. I wasn't stressed. I was angry at the exam. I was sitting there. I think I fumbled listening. I fumbled reading. I have writing now. So I have this one interesting sense. It's like the sixth sense. Before I open writing, I know what question I'm gonna have. I sit there on my exam and I'm like, dear God, what question type am I gonna have? And I have this image, like I'm gonna have, there are only 5 question types in writing task 2, only 7 in task 1. And I know what question type I'm gonna have. I feel this right before I open the question. I really have this all the 20 times. And I felt that I'm gonna have a really weird question, task 2, and I did. It wasn't an opinion question. It wasn't a double question. It was just a one question, like prompt, and it wasn't even opinion. And I was like, how am I supposed to deal with this, you know? And task 1 was easy. It was a bar graph. I don't know, guys, many of you are afraid of bar graphs, but bar graph is my favorite, you know, like it's my favorite question type ever, because whenever I go to my exam, I have my mom with me, and whenever I get out of my exam, my mom is waiting for me, and she'd always be like, oh my God, did you have the bar graph? She has no idea what the bar graph is, but she's like, did you have the bar graph? And if I say yes, she is happy, even though she knows nothing about it. So right now I'm going to talk about the feeling of taking the test, guys. What did you feel? Did you feel nervous? Did you feel like I'm too tired? You know, like, did you feel happy that it's all going to be over now? What feeling did you have walking to the exam?
So I went into the exam feeling pretty confident. I thought that I would pass the test once. So whether I got 8.0 or 8.5, I would just pass it once. So there was pretty much a lot of stress. But I think I was pretty confident, and I wasn't really worried because I've spent these 10 weeks preparing really intensively. And I thought that whatever score I got, it was the best for me.
Okay, feeling confident. I think that's like the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
On the test, because I know this feeling myself. Whenever you walk into a test and you're like, oh my God, I wish I didn't get this question, or oh my God, you know, like, how am I gonna do? Like, I used to have a lot of tests back in school, and I know this feeling. And the feeling of confidence is amazing. Miri, what about you? What did you feel? Did you know that you're gonna take the test only once? Or did you think like, maybe if I'm not gonna get this score, I'm gonna take it again?
I hoped that I would take the test only once, but I didn't limit myself as IELTS did. So I like that before a test, there's a little waiting time for you to ground yourself, to calm down. But when I entered the listening part, it's the first part that you do during the test, and it was my first exam. And during the first questions, during part 1, which is the easiest part, I zoned out because there was this question with blank tables. I thought there was going to be a number, like 12 tables. And I was sitting there waiting for a number, looking out the window, but I realized that the narrator, he went to the next questions, and my answer was in voice. So I started thinking back to the audio, and I completed them as I could, which led me to getting a score of 8.5 in listening instead of a 9. So my advice is get some warm-up, do some listening before the test. Other parts were fine. During rewriting, which is arguably the hardest part of the exam, I didn't feel stressed, not because I was confident, but because there was so little time. I didn't have time to feel anything. I just wrote and kept writing. The speaking part, I think, was the most nervous. I didn't feel like my hands shaking or my heart trembling, but I started speaking very fast for some reason, which did a little damage to my fluency score. I still got a decent score, like 8.5 in speaking.
Decent, yeah. You know, like, it's okay. You know, like 8.5, it's okay. No big deal. I mean, like, Mire, I love how my students are, I see this trait. I see my trait in you guys, because Mire is like, yeah, I got 8.5 instead of 9. And you're like aiming for a 9, but that's like amazing. Go on.
So I started speaking really fast, and I didn't know why. I thought actually my fluency score was going to be good because I didn't pause. But turns out the areas that I was worried the most for lexical resource and GRA, grammatical range and accuracy, I got a 9 in them. And in fluency and pronunciation, I got an 8. I thought it was going to be the opposite, but because I spoke too fast, I guess it a little bit harmed my score. So my advice for this section is stay as calm as possible, speak confidently like I am now. I'm speaking at my normal speed, at my comfortable pace, which you should also do during the real test.
Right, guys, because a lot of students, whenever they get into the exam, they start speaking really fast. And I did this session with like examiners from the British Council, and we did they would rate the speaking of like real life candidates. For example, like you'd go into the speaking, we'd sit there, you would not know that we are there. We'd sit there and they would, like break down the score. They'd break down why. For example, Mire got an 8 for fluency and coherence, not a 9. Why, in what kind of areas she could do better, and etc. And there was a little bit of time, like we had a break, and I decided to take a mock speaking with one of the examiners. Why not? And the thing that I was told was that the thing that is keeping me down from getting my desired 9 is me speaking too fast. Can you imagine? Because the IELTS exam, I always tell this, is not an English test. It is a communications test, okay? So it is important for you to be able to clearly communicate your thoughts through, through speaking in the English language. That's really important. So if the examiner is not able to understand you, they're going to score you down. Even if that's not your fault, they're still going to score you down. So guys, always speak at your comfortable pace. I'm a fast speaker. I don't know. Everybody in my house, they speak extremely fast. If you hear my uncles, talking, it seems as if they're rapping. It feels as if Eminem is going to be jealous of them. In Kazakh. So everybody in my household, we speak insanely fast. And I speak insanely fast in the English language. This is me speaking slowly because I'm talking to students, right? But normally I speak insanely fast. And if you're a fast speaker, just like me, try to slow down. Yeah, try to take it easy. Try to slow down. Try to speak at a very, as if you were at an interview, at a very formal interview, don't speak too fast. They're gonna score you down, even if it's your normal pace of speaking, guys. All right, so Mansur, what about you?
I would say the most difficult thing about taking an IELTS exam was when I was at first I was confident in myself, so I went there with my parents, with my mom and dad. So in their faces, I was very confident. But when I entered the examination, so I had my speaking test first. So when I entered it, I was quite a bit panicking because I was alone. I feel very confident when I have my familiar parents with me. So I went to the examiner and said hi, and I was a very bright person on her face, but she was very rude, I think, because she was when I was talking, she interrupted me a lot of times. She was she was not interested in my talking. So I was very I was stressed at the time because I thought I would get a very bad score. So I left it, and my parents were asking me how was it. I said them that don't ask me anything, please, and I just closed myself, and because I'm a very introverted person, so я пошел домой, короче, и просто лежал, ни с кем не общаешься, да вот.
Ребята, мой совет: никогда не проходите спикинг сначала. Сначала пройдите мейн-сессию, только потом спикинг. У нас такая же история 1000 раз в день повторяется. Мансур, как у вас? Шарипа Тайбасар, знаете, да? 8.5 набрала. Она сдавала IELTS 2 раза. И в первый раз у нее сначала был спикинг, потом мейн-сессия, она провалила спикинг, потому что это, ребят, нормально, потому что когда вы проходите спикинг сначала, вы всегда его проваливаете, потому что вы чувствуете весь этот стресс, и весь этот стресс вливается в это интервью. И после того, как she fumbled her speaking, она очень сильно нервничала, и на main part тоже, поэтому сначала пройдите main part, только потом speaking, чтобы такого не было. Касательно перебивания, экзаменаторы на самом деле это такие же люди, как и мы, это очень важно, понимаете, знаете, потому что мы смотрим с нашей стороны, со стороны кандидатов, да, на экзаменаторов, какие-то они такие грозы люди, но я с ними работала бок о бок, и я знаю то, что они такие же люди, как и я, и такие же люди, как и ваши родители, которые на самом деле устали от своей работы, и все, ребят, то есть они не хотят быть грубыми, когда они вас перебивают, просто у них есть определенное количество вопросов, как у меня, например, сейчас, да, и их цель, допустим, если у нас сейчас есть 2 часа, чтобы вы поделились со своим опытом, поделились со своими мыслями, я готова, и наши слушатели готовы вас выслушать, у экзаменаторов нет такой привилегии, у вас только 14 минут, минус 1 минута за part 2 preparing, получается максимум 13 минут, от 10 до 13 минут, чтобы оценить ваш speaking объективно. Это очень сложно, у экзаменаторов очень стрессовая задача. Если вы когда-то работали синхронным переводчиком, вы знаете, каково это стрессово, это примерно так же, потому что вы должны объективно оценить работу кандидата, и экзаменаторов проверяют. То есть, если они занижают ваш балл, или если ставят ваш спикинг, завышают ваш балл за спикинг, то их могут дисквалифицировать. Это в лучшем случае. Поэтому take it easy, guys. They're gonna interrupt you. It's fine. It's not because the examiner's bad. It's just, there are many types of examiners. The person that's in front of you may be a trainee, for example. That's why they might be interrupting. It's not because of you.
Ну, знаете, после этого уже не хотелось прям заходить на на main part, потому что уже я думал вообще, я получу, наверное, 6 или 6,5, и после этого уже я захожу уже без надежды, но все-таки получилось у меня получить 8.
Congratulations, Watson, congratulations, потому что вы же взяли еще skill retake, да, именно на speaking, и во второй раз вы наверняка чувствовали себя намного комфортнее.
Да. Во второй раз мне попалась британка, она кивала, она была прям хорошая, и из-за этого я был более уверен, поэтому я думаю, я получил выше, чем в прошлый раз, и получил 8, да.
Ребят, вам такой совет, который многие IELTS-коучи, возможно, не одобрят, но я говорю как человек, который сдавал IELTS 20 раз, ребята, да, никогда не смотрите экзаменаторам в лицо, если вы не очень прям харизматичный, не прям очень сильно уверенный человек. Если вы не сильно прям экстраверт, никогда этого не делайте. Я сама по себе, я амбиверт, я больше как интроверт, я не люблю с людьми общаться, для меня это очень стрессово, у меня садится социальная батарея, и каждый раз, когда я смотрю на экзаменатора, как будто мой спикинг зависит от экзаменатора, то есть, если она будет кивать, тогда все пройдет хорошо, если нет, то все плохо. Я выработала такую привычку, там всегда стоит pen or pencil in front of you, берите этот pen or pencil и просто смотрите на этот pen or pencil, и все, потому что вам никто баллы добавляет, снижается, eye contact не будет, это не написано в marking criteria, все, что не написано в marking criteria, ребята, они не проверяют, то есть это ваша внешность, ваш акцент, ваша уверенность, ваш body language, да? Можно сидеть вот так вот, не смотреть на экзаменатора и по-любому получить высокий балл. А Йолум, какое было у вас чувство, когда вы сдавали этот тест?
У меня были очень смешанные чувства. I was like mixed the whole day, literally, because some funny things happened, and then the stress come out, and I was like, what even am I feeling? I had this question every time in this process. So, but speaking about the speaking part, yeah, I had such a good examinator. It was the Indian grandpa. He was so funny. I literally loved his accent. He was like a little bit, the Indian accent. Yeah, he was. It was so fun to talk with him. But since he had the problem with the Wi-Fi, I had to stay at the test center for 1 hour and 20 minutes long. You know that the listening part is the shortest one, yeah. But I literally had to stay there for 1 hour. It was stressful, but at the same time, it was so funny when he was like saying the same thing because they are recording it, yeah. He was like, okay, the first part, the second, the 2nd of July, and he was like saying this part for 10 times in a row. I was like sitting there smiling at him, and I know that he felt awkward too, but it was so fun, and I'm glad that I had this type of examinator. He was Sigma, yeah. He was so funny. I really liked him. Yeah. Speaking about the other ones, I felt most of the time stress. Literally, I was trembling. I was like thinking that, oh my god, I'm not going to pass this exam or something like that. But at first, I was really confident. I even had to make a conversation with one girl, and we were actually friends right now.
Wow.
I don't know how.
Wow.
I just felt so confident that I was like, hey, how are you doing? And something like that. I was playful, I think. So, yeah.
Guys, now, a question that I think mostly that's really important for girls. Do you like your certificate photo?
Who does?
You don't?
No.
I don't.
No.
You don't like it? Marcel, what about you? Do you like it?
You know what? My guy friend had the most, like, the model face, and he was so beautiful on the paper, and I was like looking at my face, I was like, am I tripping? Why am I so ugly in this picture? And I actually asked the person who was like taking the photo, yeah, am I looking good? And he was like, yeah, you look stunning, you look gorgeous. move. I was like, okay, I will trust you da. But then I looked at myself, I was like, what do you mean gorgeous? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, every single time before I take the IELTS exam, like, I live with mom, and I have a whole big team, and they didn't know that I was taking the IELTS exam, and my mom also didn't know that I was taking the IELTS exam. I mean, like, she got informed a day before. I was like, Mom, tomorrow I have an IELTS exam. Well, one thing that I liked was to show, a lot of people think that I'm a very extroverted person. I take energy from talking to people. I don't, guys. Sometimes I really, like, my social battery's down, and whenever I'm preparing for exams, I talk to nobody. Nobody is around me. If somebody is around me, they get hit with, like a slipper or whatever I have, like in my hands. So I had 3 days of solitude, literal, because I was at home. There was nobody. Mom didn't talk to me. My team didn't disturb me. And it turns out they thought that I was somewhere abroad, I wasn't, guys. I was dying in my house preparing for the test. So each time when I would go to the test, like 11 times, 19 times before, I would not shower. I would wake up at 4:30 every single day. Before the test, I wake up at 4:15. It's like, like a tradition. I would barely brush my teeth. I would just do mock tests. I would go to the exam. I would do mock tests. So, like, my photos look really bad. But this time, like the 20th time, one thing that I did was on my fourth try, I got an 8.5. After that, I would only get 8.5s. And one thing that would never fail me was listening. I would always get a 9 listening. No matter how I felt, no matter what audio this was, I would always get a 9. I would always knew that I got a 9 on listening. That was like normal for me. And each time, like like on my 13th try onwards, I would be 5 score shy away from 9. Each time it was a different skill. Sometimes I would get, for example, 8.5 in reading instead of 9. Sometimes it would be 8.5 in speaking instead of 9. Sometimes it would be, for example, 7.5 in writing instead of 8 in order to get that. Each time I was this close to getting a 9, it felt as if I was a donkey and, like I was being dodged a carrot in front of me, and I wouldn't be able to get that. Each time it was a frustration, and that was something that kept me going, because like I'm this close to 9. Why can I not get it? And on my 19th try, I got to the exam. I performed to my literal best, I think, because I did all my best. I was concentrated. I didn't look at nobody. I just set the exam, and I thought I'm gonna get a 9. I received my results the next day. I open it, and I thought 9 or 8.5, but probably more closer to a 9. And I got an 8. This 8 wasn't an 8 when you're like, it's not like a full 8 when you're kind of a little bit closer to an 8.5. No, it was a 7.5, over 8. You know what I'm talking about? And for the first time ever, I got 8.5 in listening for the first time in my life, because in my first IELTS exam, I got a 6 in listening. After that, I get 9s in listening only. And I felt devastated. I really didn't know what to do, because it felt as if I'm not progressing, I'm regressing. And nonetheless, I stood up, because I was at home when I saw my results. I crashed out onto the sofa. I stood up and I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I took the exam, and my next exam was in 3 days. I went to the exam, and it felt as if something inside me broke. And for the first time ever, I didn't wake up at 4:15. I woke up at 6. The first thing that I did was I said, Mom, make me breakfast. Because, I always tell students, never eat before your exam. You're going to get nervous. This time I was so fed up. I was like, whatever, you know, like I said, Mom, make me breakfast, make me the best breakfast you've ever made. And the next thing, I went to the shower, I listened to music, I listened to Arctic Monkeys, Chase Atlantic, and of course funk. I got ready and I did my makeup. For the first time before an exam, I did my makeup, I did my hair. Then I didn't look at a mock test, I just had breakfast, then I went to the exam. And when I went to the exam, I had, you know, like, I still remember I had this hoodie, and I still remember what I wore to this day. And I was looking really pretty, and I was really, you know, like, I was really happy because I was feeling pretty. And whenever you were in the waiting time, for the first time ever, I decided to go to the bathroom and wash my hands. I mean, like, why not? And, you know, like, the British Council, people, they already know me because I see them more often than I see my family. So they already know. I've never been to the bathroom. I never did my makeup. They were kind of shocked. And one thing that I had was I had a hoodie. And, you know, this hoodie had like metal loops right here. And I had socks that had magnets. Do you know these kind of socks that kind of hold hands? Yeah, I had those socks because why not? And, you know, when they do this kind of, when they check you, whether you have gadgets or something, my hoodie didn't let me go because I had these metal loops, and my socks didn't let me go. And I went to the bathroom beforehand. So the people at the British Council, they thought, oh, she must be cheating, you know, because she's taken the oath so many times. She must be cheating this time. And they did something that I'll still never forget. There was a woman, she was in hijab, and she took me into the bathroom. I was wearing a very baggy hoodie. She made me lift up my hoodie, showing that I had nothing. So can you imagine? I lifted up my hoodie right here, so I showed that I didn't write anything on my arms. So I was so angry at the point because it felt like I was being harassed to a point. So I was angry. I walk into the exam. The examiner, you know, like the person takes a photo, and then the person who's taking the photo, they were like, move your hair this way, move your hair that way. I was so angry. And then at some point they were like, just, you know, like tie your hair into a bun. And I was like, I was speechless. And, you know, like my photo on the IELTS exam shows that. If you see my photo, I'm like, yeah, so what now? You know, like I thought, I was so angry. Whenever I'm angry, everybody knows that I'm angry. I cannot hide my emotions. Unfortunately, I haven't learned that. I sit on my desk, and you know, there's your computers have numbers like 001. I would always sit on 003, 005, and 013. Only on these three computers 20 times. And this time, I sit on the computer. It's like 009. Game starts. I'm like, God, is this a sign? Please let me know if this is a sign. And I sit there and I read dua that I know because I'm from a Muslim family. Then I cross myself. Just for like this, for double security, I do both. So I go to the exam, the audio starts. And in listening part 3, I had a question that I didn't expect. I had, you know, like flowchart completion with ready-made answers. And I missed 3 questions. If you miss 3 questions, you're going to get an 8 or 8.5, I'm sorry. But then my intuition kicked in, and I did so many mock tests that I already kind of knew what was supposed to be where. And I did this using my logic, using my intuition, using my, you know, like experience and grammar. Of course, grammar helped me out. Context helped me out. I did listening. I did reading in a completely different way. I fell asleep in reading as well. I fell asleep for 2 minutes. I felt so recharged. I felt so good. And then writing, I had a question that I wasn't prepared for. And that's why whenever I opened my reaction, all of the 19 times I shot my reaction. I swear to God. I also had a phone just in case maybe I got a 9 this time. This time, I was so sure that I did so bad that I didn't even put the phone there. And I opened my results and I see a 9. Now, guys, let's talk about the moment where you opened up your results. What feeling did you have? Did you believe your eyes? Did you think that you were hallucinating? Who did you tell first? What was their emotion? Like everything in detail.
When I opened my results, I'm always used to people showing them on the actual certificate, but when you open your results, they come in on the website. And I saw a 9.5, I'm like, wait, maybe that's a listening score. And I look at it again, and then I scream because I was in the middle of a class. I got a notification that I was waiting for the whole day. And everybody looks at me, thinks that something bad has happened. And there were 2 teachers in the class, not 1, but 2. They were discussing something. And I interrupt them with my scream. I say that I finally got an 8.5. And then,
Finally, from the first try, right?
I mean, I finally got my result, which was an 8.5. And after that, I didn't text my mom. I didn't text my dad. I texted my curator, Miss Tamiris, first.
Oh my God.
Yeah, after that, I think I called my dad or texted him. And later, I mean, I was still doing a lesson, so I couldn't like just jump out. I just sat there waiting for this last 10 minutes to end so that I could run around the school and tell my friends, some of my teachers whom I told that I have been preparing for IELTS. And I can't say it felt surreal because I knew that I got an 8.5 and I knew that I was supposed to be happy, but I only realized that it was real after I met with you and after we had our shooting sessions.
Interesting. Oh my God, such an honor because Mirey and Sultan Aybulat, do you know him?
Yeah.
You were guys, like you scored 8.5 and the first person to tell was like your curator. Honestly, it's like we're closer than family at this point. It's amazing. Mansur, what did you feel when you opened up?
Well, at the time, after the day of the IELTS exam, I was just lying playing video games because I needed to relax. So one moment, and my mother asked me if the results were already here, well, on the side, yeah. So as she told, after maybe 5 minutes, I've got a notification that my results are done and you can see it on the website. So I went to my mom. She was doing some dinner. So we were just staying here, and I opened the website. I saw 8, and I couldn't even say a word, even make a sound, because I was very shocked, because I expected maybe 6.5 or 6, because it was like I think I deserved maybe something like very small, like lower grades.
Lower than
yeah, lower than, yeah. So I was just standing there, and my mom was screaming, and after that my brother and my sister came here, and they were talking what happened, because it was very
loud cheering.
Yeah. So that was the moment when I saw my 8. Yeah.
Amazing. So you opened up the results with your mom, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
My situation is pretty funny because the first person who actually saw my test score was my whole family, but not me.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom just called me. She was in a guest house, and we were like, I wasn't even expecting that she would open the website, she would check, I was like, nah, mom wouldn't do that, yeah. But she actually called me in a video call, and I was like, Mom, I'm actually like doing my homework like for school. Why are you calling me? So she said that you got like 7.5. I was like, what? My cousins are there. The whole family is watching me. And I was like, the only thing that was in my mind was the meme, the woman was too stunned to speak. I was just like, nah, you were joking, you better be joking. Like, I was expecting the much lower one score, but I was so happy after that. I was screaming, I was so happy, I was cheering myself. My little sister just came in and she was like, why are you so happy? And I showed her, and she was also stunned, and we were both like having so much fun. It was so great, actually. And I'm pretty happy that my mom was the first one who saw the result, because she was so happy. Yeah.
Insane.
Should I start? Oh my god.
From where should I start, right?
Okay, my story. The process was like really nerve-wracking for me. And I think one thing different from all the people sitting here on table, I took my IELTS paper-based. So I actually waited for like 12 days, I think, for the 14 days for the result to come out. And it's been really long, and I've already imagined every single scenario in my head already. And it was an exam season, so I just took my Russian summative assessment, and I had my friend with me. And I saw that the email came from British Council, and we just went to somewhere isolated to check the results. For 5 whole minutes, I couldn't really open it. I was like shaking, trembling. And then I finally opened it, and I saw my 8.5, and I was just like Iola. I was too stunned to speak. And then I called my mom, and then we cheered. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, guys, should I tell you the emotions that I had when I opened up 9? No, right? Because everybody knows Mama, I'm in Только, that legendary video. Now people, they know my content maker is sitting there, she's laughing. So one thing that's interesting, people know me not like, oh my god, you're the girl that got 9. No. They know me like this, and it's like, what am I supposed to say? Yes? Interesting thing was I did not expect this. So I know the results come out exactly at 2:31. 2:31, my email is open. I'm waiting for the notification. Your exam results are available. No. This time I was meditating for the higher good. Maybe they're gonna get there. I was meditating, and it's 2 o'clock exactly. My mom texts me. She's asking for money. Why else would she text her daughter, right? So she's like, can you please send me some money? And my mom is my guardian angel, because whenever something good happens, she's always there. And I sent her the money, and I decided to check my email, and my results are available. Okay, so I didn't shoot it. I thought like, what I'm gonna tell my mom is like, Mom, I had a really bad day. I cannot really do this. And if you see the video, I had mascara on, which implies that I knew that I was not gonna cry, because who in the world would put mascara on their eyes? And when I put mascara, I put a lot of mascara on my eyes and cry, right? So I put mascara on my eyes, expecting I'm not gonna cry, and I go to the site, and the site opens really fast, and I see, 9. First thing in my head is, Saya, ты окончательно ушла с ума. Сошла с ума. Saya, ты окончательно сошла с ума. That's the first thing that I think. Saya, you've gone crazy. How? Because for you guys, it was like, you prepare for 10 weeks, you go to the exam, you take it. I prepared for like an insane amount of time, and days before my exam, I wasn't able to sleep physically. I was sleeping in my dreams. I saw my IELTS questions. I would do my IELTS questions. I'm sitting here, I look like a normal person. What I'm thinking of is IELTS. I wouldn't be able to think of anything else. In the course of, I think, a week, I lost 13 kilograms. 13 kilograms. None of mine, because I wear skirts. All of my people, all of my friends, all of my team knows that. And none of my skirts would fit me because they would be too big. I'd wear them, they, like slide down. I was so stressed, and I thought, that was the first thing. It's not funny. I thought, Saya, you've gone mad. And after that, I was like, I didn't even look at my skills. I looked at my TRF because I wanted to see if it's real. I opened up my TRF. Overall, so my speaking is 9. My overall is 9. 9. I was like, Saya, you did this. And then I called my mom via my phone. I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I got a 9. And I didn't cry even. I was so shocked. I didn't cry. And then my entrepreneurial side wakes up. I'm like, Saya, you have to make content. And I took my phone. I called via my laptop. I still remember, and I called via WhatsApp, and that's why the connection was so bad. My mom couldn't hear me. If you see the video, she's like, "Oh, and I had to tell her 3 times. so mama ve 9 aldım. And it seems funny for everyone who's watching the video, but at the moment, you know, I was so shocked that all of my like all of my body was sort of, it froze. I wasn't able to move it. I was crying there, sitting there. I was having this shock. My hands were shaking. My body was shaking, but yet it froze. I wasn't able to lift up my leg, my arm, nothing. And then I sit there, and we were all shocked. Of course, I was really shocked. And I sit there, and the first thing that I think was finally that I did this, and that I told my team. And if you watch the video, I did not tell them that I got a 9. I said, "Men kişi IELTS tapsırdım. Я вчера сдала IELTS." These, like, people thought, they had so much faith in me. They were like, "You got a 9," and they start congratulating me. I think of, like, the opposite scenario. What if I was about to tell them, like, I took the IELTS exam yesterday, I got an 8.5, and I decided not to take IELTS anymore? What if that was the scenario? Like, they would be so disappointed. So it felt, I don't know, it felt surreal, like, and after getting this 9, my body, guys, because for people who do not know my way, who haven't been with me, like my mom, if she was sitting there, she'd be able to tell you how much of that 9 I needed, because that 9 for me, it's not just a score. For me, it was the illustration of my character, of my ability to go and get what I need, even if all of the odds were against me, because I was preparing for, like my finals at school, because I'm an 11th grader, and it was like this crazy exam period. I remember it was after New Year, so we had, the sales went down. I had to manage that. I have a business of 100 people working for me, so I provide salaries for more than 100 people. I have a lot of students. I have insanely a lot of responsibilities. And if you think that you're busy, count on my schedule and you'll see how not busy you are. And still with that, I managed to get what I wanted. And for me, it was so much more than a 9. It's so much more than a score. That's why I had this emotion. And after getting this 9, like, I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't able to eat. I ate nothing, 0 for a month. I couldn't sleep for a month because of how my body, how my nervous system was. It was active. It was insanely active. It felt as if, like, I was a superhuman for a month, and it was amazing. But, like, I didn't open up my certificate. You guys didn't open up your certificate either, right? I opened it for you. So you had to wait for a long time. Did you guys think that if you opened up your certificate, you might have a different score? Did you have these kind of, like, interesting thoughts?
No, I guess, because you prohibited us from opening that certificate. So I didn't even look at that certificate before I actually had to go to Almaty.
Prohibited. That's an interesting word. I asked you not to open it, but okay. So, the thing was that I also didn't open my paper certificate. I opened it 2nd of February. I got my results 23rd of January. So before that, 9 days. And for the 9 days, I had interesting thoughts, and I asked my mom, what if my score is actually different and the website is lagging? What if I open the certificate and I'm gonna see an 8? It's gonna be like, what a shame, right? And then my mom, like, she said no. And if you watch the video of me opening the certificate, it was at a graduation party. I was, holding the certificate so tight as if I was so scared to lose it. All right, guys. So now let's talk about techniques that helped you get this score. What is the one technique that helped you, for example, improve your listening? The one technique. Let's go really briefly.
I can start. So I was watching your videos on Advibe platform, and then I really remember this. You're telling that you have 30 seconds at the end of each part in listening to kind of review your answers. But you told us that you don't really need to waste that time because you won't hear the audio again. So you should just move on to the next part and revise everything so that it will be easier for you to do the next part. It really helped me, and I think it helped me concentrate and be more productive during the exam.
Perfect.
For me, listening was the easiest part for me, but at the end of the course, I had some problems because I didn't practice it in a long time. So I decided that practicing is literally your power. Like, you were going to remember everything, and of course checking your answers like in a logical way. Why did you think that? Why did you like heard this one even though the word was the another one? Yeah. So I think checking my answers and making sure that next time I wouldn't make this mistake again was the best thing to be prepared. Yeah.
Right. So analyzing your answers, great. Mansur.
Well, I would say some life hacks about reading. In reading, you have 60 minutes and 3 passages. So I would say you should not waste a lot of time on these 3 passages when making these questions, answering them. So I would say you should firstly read the text and not just read, just skim it and analyze it very fastly, and then you should go to the questions. It was a technique for myself, I think. So I went to the questions and I read every question, and I could answer them without even looking at the text because I remembered everything on the passage. Yeah. So I could end all 3 passages in maybe 40 minutes, and other 20 minutes I could just check the answers that I did. So I was checking them, and some questions were maybe wrong. I just remade them, and I think that's how I got 8.5 on reading.
Perfect. That is a perfect technique if you have a perfect memory like Mansur, because Mansur was able to read the text, guys, and he was able to remember everything, and then he was able to answer the questions. But for, like a lot of people, they feel insanely pressured on the test day, and it's really hard to remember something. And for me, as a person who has like a lot of information daily, I encounter like with millions of news every single day. One of my colleagues asked me, Messiah, why do you not watch horror movies? And I said, my every single day starts like a horror movie, guys. Your messages are like horror movies to me. I don't need one. I wouldn't be scared. So I don't remember anything. Like I read something and I forget about it instantly. So in that kind of cases, you need to start with the questions, guys, especially if it's true, false, ungiven, summary, completion, etc. But if it's matching headings, we always start with the text. But that is a really good technique. And what you can, and one insight is, guys, never do your reading in 60 minutes. Do it in 40 minutes so you have time to check your answers. It's insanely important because no matter how smart you are, you're still going to make mistakes. And if you're taking CDI, take the full advantages of CDI, guys. You know that you can copy and paste. Copy and paste. Don't write it, because if you write it, you're going to make spelling mistakes. No matter how careful you are, you're still going to make spelling mistakes. So, Miri, what about you? Any skill of your choice and one technique?
Well, since we started with listening, I will share a technique about listening. I clearly remember a lesson with my teacher, Miss Salima, and we were doing, as we always do, before actually listening to the recording, we looked at the questions, we highlight keywords, and what we do is predict. So she asked, what word could be here? And for every question, I could make up some answer. But I realized that there was a lot of silence. There was a lot of thinking going on during the lesson. So a lot of people are actually unaware of that, or they underestimate the power of this technique because they cannot come up with their own answer. The number of words that could actually be in the place of the blank is very limited, especially if you had a lot of exposure to IELTS recordings like Saya. You will be able at some point just predict what is going on without even listening to the audio. It helps you because it gives you peace of mind and you know what to expect. But of course, you shouldn't get too hung up on that, otherwise you will miss something like I did. But overall, I'd say it's a necessary technique for anyone who wants to score high on listening.
Great. I'm so proud because, guys, I'm listening to you and you're sharing techniques. And it's techniques that even IELTS experts don't even know in many cases. And you're my students. And I'm so proud that you guys are like, for a lot people who are not teachers don't understand this feeling, but for like teachers, it's like you're my my children, and you're like saying that, and it's like it's a moment of sheer joy and pride. Okay, guys, Now, let's talk about, well, we've talked about techniques, we've talked about, everything, but let's talk about mistakes. What kind of mistakes did you make in any skill of your choice? And how did you, fix this mistake in order to see progress?
So I can start in listening. I was listening to everything, right? So it was part 4, I think, the last part, and it was the last question. So I just predicted everything like meditated, and I was just concentrating my best, and I heard the audio go on, and they were saying snail. It's a type of animal, right? But I just forgot what it was because of all the pressure, and I didn't know how to spell it. So I just wrote something like SNALE, even though it is supposed to be spelled as SNAIL. So at the end of the test, I reviewed everything, and I saw that my mistake was so silly, and I just fixed it right away.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So guys, what do you do when you forget how to write a word? Do you have techniques for that?
Channel your inner Saya and try to remember the word. Recently I forgot some word. I can't remember what word is it, but it was some like very basic word like snail, and I just kept rewriting it, and I realized that something is wrong. And when you are trying to spell something, you base your spelling not on the actual rules, but on how the word looks, and you see the word and you just feel it looks wrong. So you just keep mixing up letters that could be there in order to guess the correct answer. But of course, that's not something that you should do on the exam. I feel like if it's a writing, for example, a writing section, you don't have to write exact words as you do in listening or reading. So in this case, if you forget some word, just paraphrase it.
Exactly. But a really useful technique, если вы забыли, как пишется слово прямо на экзамене, а это, знаете, этого очень трудно избежать, если вы сдаете экзамен впервые, если у вас очень сильно повышен уровень стресса, то вы легко можете забыть, как пишется простое элементарное слово уровня А1. Что мы делаем, ребята? Мы сначала пишем это слово, чтобы не забыть, что там у нас должно быть именно вот это вот слово в ответе, да? Затем, когда нам дают 2 минуты, чтобы проверить наши ответы, мы делаем быстро нейрогимнастику, очень разные, очень многие упражнения. Нейрогимнастику мы делаем, чтобы разбудить наш мозг, затем мы закрываем глаза, и, как Мирей сказала, мы примерно представляем слово. И с помощью метода шафлинг мы примерно пишем слово и понимаем, как оно примерно пишется. Нейрогимнастика перед экзаменом, во время стресса, после экзамена, она очень классно встряхивает ваш разум, встряхивает ваш ум и помогает вам не только понизить ваш уровень стресса, но и повысить вашу эффективность именно на экзамене. Нейрогимнастику можно найти везде, если вы забьете, допустим, в Google, в YouTube, нейрогимнастика для детей особенно, очень много разных упражнений, и делая их, вы можете намного лучше написать экзамен, чем без этого. Ayola, what about you?
I had such a big problem with the spelling one, so I decided to ask my teacher, Miss Saida, what to do, and she said that practice, baby, practice. So there was one website, I don't really remember the name of it, yeah, but there you're going to hear one word, for example, like fight, yeah, so, and then you're going to type it as you remember. So the website is going to like say, is it like correct or not? If there is a one not correct thing, it will only just read the incorrect letter, and then you're going to like guess, okay. And day by day, by doing that, I literally got better in spelling things. And I actually have a piece of advice for speaking test, speaking part. Get a friend or the study buddy. It really helped. Oh my god, I have my friend, her name is Yasmina, and we were speaking a lot. Whenever, wherever we are, we were only speaking in English, and with her knowledge and my knowledge, with the new words, with the new techniques, we literally boost our level, and I'm so proud of it. I know that it kind of my own like
Авторская методика.
Yeah, my own method.
Авторская техника.
And it is so
отъёма.
funny. It is so funny. And if you think that you don't have any friend, like, unfortunately, you can always speak with your teacher. They are so open for this one. I don't know, in your courses, I've met such a, oh my god, the most like angelic people. Those teachers were not like the teachers we are like used to see at school, mm-mm. They are much better. They are like the best, So I literally wanted to say that if you think that you are not good in speaking, you're probably you are, but maybe this is the just for right now, yeah. So you just need to practice it.
Great.
Yeah.
Find a study buddy. So you mentioned teachers, and here I have to mention наш HR-отдел, отдел, который занимается вот именно, знаете, наймом людей в нашу команду, потому что на самом деле это так, потому что мы смотрим, когда мы нанимаем людей, особенно людей, которые будут работать непосредственно с вами, ребята, потому что мы знаем то, что мы работаем с подростками, да, все тут, которые сидят, вы подростки, и я сама как подросток, я понимаю то, что у подростков к ним нужен другой подход, более, скажем, такой тщательный, более такой нежный подход, чем ко взрослым людям, потому что во многих случаях подростки, они приходят к нам стеснительными, необщительными, закрытыми, они не спрашивают много вопросов и так далее, и я так горжусь нашей системой team-building, потому что когда мы строим команду, и когда я строила вот эту вот систему, я задалась вопросом, как построить очень сильную команду, чтобы я знаю, что я не буду сама обучать наших студентов, но как заставить людей, которые обучают наших студентов, болеть за наших студентов, так же, как они, знаете, болеют за себя. Тогда мы построили систему мотивации, потому что система мотивации, она работает у вас, да, получается, Мирей, Айолом, вы получили по новой машине с салона, да, просто за такой балл, это же mind-blowing, да, если мне кто-то сказал бы, что, Сая, ты за 8-5 получишь машину, не знаю, я бы была бы очень рада, это, ничего не сказать, да, что я была бы рада. Мансур получит у нас путевку, кстати, в Дубай или в Египет? Куда вы? Все у нас выбирают Дубай, Айшани, Талшан, Мансур выбирают Дубай, Айолум мы оплатили сдачу экзамена, то есть у наших студентов есть стремление получать высокий балл, потому что даже если ты получаешь, допустим, сейчас 6,5, почему бы не 7,5, почему бы не сделать так, чтобы мы оплатили за тебя твой экзамен, почему бы не 8,0, почему бы не 8,5 и так далее, но такая же система мотивации работает у наших учителей, потому что у мисс Салимы и у мистера Ахмеда, да, ваших учителей, за вашу 8,5 зачислился бонус в размере 200 тысяч тенге за один сертификат, ребята, и таких бонусов у нас очень много, не только у учителей, и у кураторов, и у операционного директора и так далее, то есть вся команда работает на результат, именно наверняка поэтому сейчас вы смотрите наш подкаст с моими машинами, которые набрали 8,5 с первого раза, да, потому что у нас есть и выстроена такая вот грамотная система мотивации. Когда я впервые начала, скажем, такой вот конкурс, подарю машину, подарю путевку, получу твой IELTS за твой высокий результат, IELTS, многие, они, конечно, были против, это были люди в моей команде, но я очень рада сообщить, что все люди, которые были против этого конкурса, они сейчас не работают в моей команде, but nonetheless, да, были против не только моя команда, но и моя мама, потому что она думала, что это очень затратно, покупать машину каждому студенту, это не самый целесообразный способ потратить бюджет компании, да, который можно вложить в другие, вот, допустим, в product management или в маркетинг, в HR и так далее. Но я решила, что, знаете, есть такая вещь, как интуиция, и я ей очень сильно доверяю. В любых моих важных решениях я всегда отвечаю так. Я думаю, что ответ должен быть такой. Когда спрашивают, почему, я не знаю. Я просто так чувствую. И тогда я почувствовала, что это правильное решение. На все вопросы, почему, обоснуй и так далее, я просто отвечала, я не знаю. Я просто так чувствую. И, как оказалось, на самом деле это работает, на самом деле это мотивирует нашу молодежь, потому что многие говорили, ой, да кого будет мотивировать эта машина, да никого не будет путевка мотивировать, оказывается, это не так, потому что, знаете, тут дело не только в машине, которую вы получаете, вместе с машиной вы получаете и авторитет, и статус, да, и, как я люблю говорить в своих соцсетях, как, знаете, не любят эту фразу мои хейтеры, плюс 100 аура, получается, знаете, это такой престиж, и мы показываем казахстанской молодежи, что это модно быть образованным, модно учиться за границей, модно получать достойное образование, это в тренде, и такой тренд мы задали, и наверняка сейчас, после вас, потому что, знаете, вы наверняка вдохновились Шарипой, Султаном, которые получили у нас 8.5. У нас сначала получил 8.5 Султан, после этого мы опубликовали это у себя на странице. Этим вдохновилась Шарипа, которая набрала 8.5, этим вдохновились Аялом, Мирей. Вы поставили потолок, всех потолков, потому что вы набрали такой балл с первого раза. И наверняка вот все студенты, которые у нас учатся сейчас, у нас в офисе, вы сегодня увидите, ваши сертификаты, у нас все сертификаты в А4 висят, 7,5, 8, 7, ваши сертификаты, у меня вот большой вот такой вот сертификат, и ваши сертификаты прям рядом со мной, прям такие большие, и когда я вот захожу в офис, где наши студенты учатся, они все говорят, блин, я хочу как Айолом набрать, допустим, да, 8.5, хочу как Мирей набрать 8.5 по speaking, хочу как Мансур набрать 8.5 по reading, хочу как Айолом набрать 7.5 с первого раза, и мы видим этот импакт, который вы даете казахстанской, по сути, молодежи, потому что они смотрят на вас, и мои будущие машины, они смотрят на моих на мой уже автопарк, и они этим вдохновляются, и у них появляется мотивация учиться, потому что вы у нас учились онлайн. Все учились онлайн?
Оффлайн.
Оффлайн. Наверняка Йолом вас мотивировала этот Hall of Fame, да?
Of course. Вообще меня больше всего мотивировало то, что когда мы праздновали 23 января, да, это был день рождения моей сестренки. Вдобавок еще вы пришли с 9:0. Это было так прекрасно. Я вообще так вдохновилась тогда и подумала, у меня тогда было 0 мотивации, если честно. Я не успевала с уроками, было сложновато, типа, это все вместе с собой нести. Но когда я вас увидела, еще вашу команду такие прям cheerful, you know, I was like, God damn, I need to push harder. И вот получилось как-то. Я получила 7.5, я этому очень довольна, и спасибо вам реально.
Вот. Good job, we're insanely proud of you. И знаете, вот построили такое комьюнити, что когда вы заходите в офис, вы уже настраиваетесь на успех, потому что уже нет другого выбора. Ты видишь сертификаты, и ты моментально хочешь быть, ты хочешь быть среди них, ты хочешь, чтобы твой сертификат висел в этой золотой рамке. У нас все сертификаты висят именно в золотой рамке, потому что это престиж, это элита, поэтому ваш сертификат тоже у нас висит Айолом, кстати, вы его сегодня наверняка увидите, так что да. Okay, guys, so, были ли моменты, когда совсем не хватало мотивации? Потому что многие ребята говорят, не хватает мотивации учить английский дальше, не хватает мотивации готовиться к IELTS дальше. Возможно, этот подкаст смотрят наши будущие машины, наши студенты, кандидаты, которые очень сильно выгорели. Какой ваш совет? Что вы делали, когда у вас было 0 мотивации, выгорание, так скажем?
Я могу начать. Вообще, у меня было много работы по школе, и это был конец четверти, когда я записалась на курс, в феврале. Поэтому мне было тяжело совмещать и домашку, которую нужно сдавать строго до 8, ее там очень много. Но когда начались весенние каникулы, у меня высвободилось время. И дальше, когда остальные недели от начала четверти, там тоже особо много работы нет, я решила, вот те 3 недели, что у меня остались до экзамена, я должна log in. Но мы же подростки, не все бывает, как мы хотим. И в какие-то дни я действительно много училась, в какие-то дни вообще не вылезала из кровати, вот просыпалась, открывала ноутбук, училась весь день, и потом где-то в 6 вечера пошла умываться, завтракать, все такое. Но в другие дни мне вообще не хотелось работать. Я в это время I binge-watched a K-drama, но после этого поняла, что так, мне нужен результат, так что я или продолжаю вот так работать, или я локаюсь. И что мне реально помогло, I'm a night owl, So I prefer working at night. И, кстати, что мне понравилось, нам перед экзаменом в чат отправили документ от психолога, который работает на курсе, у которого тоже 8:0. И там даже был пример schedule для night owl. Но там night owl просыпается в 7 утра, я думаю, я засыпаю в 7 утра. Но, короче, я что делала? Я весь день делала, что я хотела. Там смотрела сериалы, расслаблялась, спала. Но ночью ночью тишина, никто не шумит, тихо, темно, спокойно. И ночью я училась, открывала ноутбук. Я включала одну и ту же песню, она играла у меня 6 часов. Она мне помогала, знаете, зайти в этот режим deep work, in the zone. И так где-то 6 часов нормальной учебы у меня собиралась. Потом в течение дня еще 2-3 часа можно выделить, да, даже если особо работать не хочется. И что я хочу этим сказать? Конечно, такой режим — это unsustainable when you go to school, но во время каникул, это 1 неделя, это достаточно работы собирается. И my point is you have to find a method of work that really helps you get in the zone, that is enjoyable, because if you don't enjoy what you do, you will not be able to sustain that regime for a long time, for longer than a few days, I'd say.
Right. So my mom is also a night owl, so she does all of her productive work at night. So yeah, I understand that. It's, guys, знаете, мне очень импонирует вот эта вот мысль, что когда мы что-то планируем, мы должны планировать не только, знаете, то, что я вот получу 8-5, мы не только должны планировать свои действия. Я буду учиться по 8 часов в день, буду делать это, то и так далее. Мы должны планировать обстоятельства, которые помогают нам, допустим, да, это, возможно, наши родные, поддержка, еда и так далее, и обстоятельства, которые нам не помогают, допустим, которые играют против нас. Возможно, это дедлайны, это стресс, это школа, учеба, кружки, SAT в вашем случае, да, Мансур, ИНТ и так далее. И вы должны все это вместе учитывать, потому что просто полагаться на свои просто действия в мире, в котором вы живете, где очень много трения, где очень много взаимоотношений, ситуаций каких-то, да, это просто нецелесообразно, это нелогично, ребят. Поэтому, когда я планирую, допустим, в бизнесе, это очень легко показать в бизнесе, потому что в IELTS немного трудно, да, в бизнесе, когда мы ставим план, допустим, да, у отдела продаж, у маркетинг, у всех отделов есть план А, который они пытаются достичь, да, из кожи вон лезут, план Б, план С. И когда мы планируем, вот, допустим, сколько-то миллионов, мы всегда учитываем обстоятельства, которые работают на нас. Допустим, это наши сертификаты, инфоповод, да, люди, которые в бизнесе меня сейчас поймут, это какие-то маркетинговые тренды, это какие-то охваты и так далее, и обстоятельства, которые работают против нас. Это не сезон, это, не знаю, какие-то еще обстоятельства. И мы все это учитываем, и с помощью этого мы выстраиваем наши дальнейшие действия. То есть очень важно, ребят, даже график может играть либо на вас может работать, либо же может работать против вас. Поэтому очень важно, как Мирей, все это учитывать и грамотно подходить к подготовке к экзамену IELTS.
Я бы еще добавила, многие даже сегодня сказали, что time management is hard and time management is really important, but I would say that the correct term for that would be energy management, because we all have our own fluctuations of energy, our own preferred work style, and studying is a very individual process. You can be like Saya, who can work 10 hours a day. You can be like me, who can work 10 hours a night. And what works best for you, it will bring you the best results for you. So I really like this quote. It says, the best work ethic requires the best rest ethic. So if you don't rest properly, if you scroll TikTok all day, you will not work properly. You will not be at your best when you're performing.
Right. So from this, guys, it's insanely important to do sports. Did you do sports?
Yeah, I go to the gym, but during actually preparing for exams, I forgot about everything besides the exam itself. So I didn't do any of my hobbies, didn't do any sports. My rest was watching series and going outside.
Yeah, so, but guys, I would highly recommend that you do sports. One of the sports that I highly recommend is horse riding, потому что научно доказано, когда мы ездим на лошади, именно в режиме галоп, да, это прям самая быстрая скорость лошади, лошадь поднимается на определенную вибрацию, которая поднимает и вас на определенную вибрацию, где просто невозможно не быть счастливым. То есть, если вы конник, да, если вы занимаетесь конным спортом, это очень хорошо отражается именно на вашем ментальном и эмоциональном состоянии, и очень хорошо отражается на вашей уверенности и внутренней опоре, поэтому конный спорт, maybe gym, maybe some, like sport that requires you not only physical strength, but also concentration, focus, that's really important. Do sports while preparing for the IELTS exam, but guys, if you're our students, I would tell you this, guys, you have only 10 weeks. Как моя мама говорит, айналдырған, да? Айналдырған онағапта. You do not have time to delay, to procrastinate. Guys, think about it. 10 weeks. Are you 10? We have 10 fingers. Limited, right? How can you manage to procrastinate, to be lazy in these 10 weeks? It's like, like the story of a grasshopper. You are right now the grasshopper if you're not studying, but you will suffer for the next 5-10 years because you'll not get into the university of your dreams, you'll not get the education of your dreams, you're not going to get the job that you want, somebody else is going to do it. And when you know that, because if you did not get the score that you wanted, and if you know that you didn't study that hard, and if you're watching this podcast, you're seeing people that had the same potential, the same tools, the same resources as you, but they also had a choice. They had a choice to study, to be deliberate. They chose what they really wanted, which was education of their dreams, university of their dreams. Maybe it was a car, who knows, right? They chose their dreams instead of what they want now, which was TikTok, which was lying, which was doing nothing, which was procrastinating. You have the same choice. You have the same resources. You're in the same situation. But what you do have right now, you have a choice to work either for or against your future. Make that choice wisely, because whatever outcome you're going to have, 8.5, 3.5, we've seen 3.5s. We've seen that score. We've seen people who got 3.5. And, you wouldn't pity them because they already know what they did in order to get the score. So whatever you do, whether you're going to get whatever you're going to get a 9, whatever you're going to get a 2, it's all because of you. It's all because of the choices that you've made. But what I always tell students is it's always better to cry tears of happiness when you see your results than crying tears of resentment after seeing your results. So guys, it's all up to you. So study. There's no magic tool. Because I could have asked you this way, what is that one life hack that helped you to get 8.5? A lot of teachers do that. Многие эксперты говорят, вот этот вот один лайфхак поможет вам набрать 8.5. Никаких лайфхаков, ребята, нет, окей? Я это говорю как человек с 9-летним опытом в преподавании. Это почти 10 лет в преподавании, да? Как человек, который сдавал IELTS 20 раз. Я проходила этот путь 20 раз. Вы прошли его один раз, вы уже устали, да? Прикиньте, как я его проходила 20 раз. Говорю это как человек, который подготовил таких машин, которые вы видите сейчас. Лайфхаков нет. Ребята, эксперты, которые учат или обещают вам помочь набрать вам такой балл с помощью каких-то лайфхаков, они на самом деле не знают, как этот экзамен устроен, и вряд ли им можно доверять. That's the hard truth. All right, Ayola, what about you? What did you do when you felt burnt out, not demotivated?
Me or her?
Me.
Okay, you can start.
Окей. Так, когда у меня были вот эти вот проблемы с тем, burnout, yeah, I tried to find the beautiful things in such a small amount, Просто идти домой с друзьями с курса, это было так прекрасно. Я чувствовала себя таким счастливым человеком после этого. Еще ночной Алматы, потому что, офлайн я училась, и он был офис был довольно-таки далеко, и благодаря этому я имела возможность смотреть на город ночью именно. Алматы ночью — это просто шикарно, это шикарно. Я еще советую брать с собой, если вы любите музыку, брать с собой наушники, потому что с музыкой реально вы так быстрее восстанавливаетесь. Берите с собой снеки, общайтесь с друзьями, общайтесь с своими родителями, потому что поддержка моей мамы — это было что-то с чем-то. Благодаря просто the kitchen conversation, никого нету, ночь, сидишь с мамой там, Я бывало плакала, потому что не понимала, вот надо ли мне это все, вот это, вот. Но она мне всегда говорила, вот верь в себя, и все будет хорошо, реально. И вот что я советую: всегда верь в себя, реально. Вот самое нужное — это именно вера. И если у вас нету человека, который может вам это сказать, то постарайтесь обратиться к Богу, потому что, любая вера, она хороша, и любая вера поможет вам найти силу в себе. Вот так вот я справлялась.
Я с вами очень согласна. На самом деле не стоит пренебрегать вот это вот spiritual part, потому что что бы мы ни делали, во всем есть higher. Не знаю, меня так воспитывали, потому что на моем пути очень много факапов, которые остаются за сценой, банально в бизнесе. Недавно мой бизнес упал в кассовый разрыв. Когда твой бизнес падает в кассовый разрыв в 1 миллион тенге, и ты содержишь 100 плюс сотрудников, это очень сильно ощущается. Но мы попали в кассовый разрыв не в 1 миллион тенге, не в 5, не в 10, а в 60 миллионов тенге. Это был как раз апрель, это был конец апреля, начало мая. Мы знаем, что произошло в мае. Айолу Мирей набрали по 8,5. И по договору мы могли бы дать вам эту машину после 2 месяцев. По договору. Но знаете, вы девочки, вы подростки, и я, знаете, увидела как будто вас, себя вас, да, ой, бай, уже тормоз вставать, I'm sorry. So, я увидела себя вас, и я подумала, блин, эти девочки так старались, наверняка немаловажной причиной для такого балла была наверняка машина, да, вы хотели получить эту машину, поэтому я сказала, я закрыла на все глаза, мы продали наши активы, я продала свои личные активы, и это было, знаете, как будто ты отрываешь от себя вот кусок сердца, потому что я такой человек, который очень любит считать деньги с малых лет. Я обожаю деньги, я обожаю считать деньги, я обожаю контролировать деньги. Я с 11 лет держу все деньги дома, то есть я считаю расходы, я считаю доходы и так далее. И я сказала, нет, это не дороже моего слова, это не дороже мотивации девочек, потому что если вы получили бы эту машину 2 месяца позже, да, вы получили бы такую же машину, но ощущение было бы не то, потому что это те эмоции, когда вы получили 8,5, не верится, еще и машины и так далее. Бывает очень-очень много факапов. И все эти факапы, они ответственность на мне, потому что кассовый разрыв, то, что, знаете, люди крали, люди, да, это на самом деле реальность, да, люди продавали мимо кассы все эти 60 миллионов тенге. Это вся ответственность лежит на тебе, потому что ты являешься владельцем бизнеса. В такие очень тяжелые моменты люди обычно они не помогают, потому что, ребят, это очень тяжелая правда. Люди обычно, им намного легче порадоваться за тебя, намного легче быть с тобой в горе, сказать, ой, как мне тебя жаль, тебя уволили, ой, ты провалил IELTS, мне так жаль тебя, чем искренне порадоваться за тебя, потому что когда я получила 9,0, из 100 друзей, которые у меня имелись, поздравили только 2, честно, все остальные, они как будто я не получала 9, как будто, знаете, такого не было, хотя об этом слышал весь Казахстан, весь СНГ, поэтому некоторые люди тебя не понимают, они могут быть против тебя, в такие моменты помогает Бог, всегда разговаривайте с Богом, ребята, это очень-очень сильно помогает, потому что я нерелигиозный человек, меня очень часто в этом спрашивают, мусульманка ли вы, я говорю, нет, я верующий атеист, не агностик это немного другое, ребята, я верующий атеист, я верю очень сильно в Бога, но не верю в религию, и знаете, в такие моменты спасают вот эти вот разговоры по душам с Богом, потому что Он понимает тебя, Он видит твои намерения, и каким-то образом всегда есть хайр, потому что, когда я сдавала вот IELTS много раз, знаете, я считаю то, что за этой 9 стоит намного больше, чем просто цифры, потому что я сдавала IELTS в некоторых моментах несколько дней подряд, и это несколько дней неимоверного стресса на организме. И бывали моменты, когда я сижу на тесте, уже у меня очень сильно болят почки, и у меня нет никакого другого выхода, как просто плакать на экзамене. Я сижу на экзамене listening, reading, whatever, я плачу. И я просто сижу, я просто думаю, мне пофиг, я, возможно, здесь умру от этой боли, но я умру на пути к своей цели, да, вот такое вот у меня было мышление. И вот, когда вот я очень много училась, я училась 10 часов в день, кроме того, я работала, я училась в школе, и всегда, когда я хотела сдаться, я не обращалась к маме за помощью, я не обращалась к друзьям за помощью, я обращалась к Богу, я говорила, мне так сложно, а может быть, это не надо, вот, кому сдалась моя девятка, да, вот, кому нужна моя девятка, вот, по-моему, только мне, и вот всегда было такое чувство, я говорила, дай мне знак, и всегда вот эти вот знаки, они были, и плодом своего труда, я думаю, что плод моего труда, это, знаете, не мой сертификат, который висит, да, не мои личные достижения, а ваши достижения, потому что после этого набрали 8.5 вы с первого раза, и когда вот вы набрали 8.5 с первого раза, у меня было такое ощущение, как будто это все было не зря, вот, что бы я ни делала, какие факапы у меня не были бы на пути, это было вот реально не зря, то, что сайты работала не зря, во всем этом был хайр, да, это очень классное слово, хайр. Можете его загуглить, если меня смотрит русскоговорящая аудитория. И знаете, в этом была причина. На выпускном, когда вы были там, я у вас видела впервые, кстати, на выпускном, да, Мирей, я произнесла такую речь, и была там такая фраза, то, что боль, которая превратилась в миссию, она никогда не была прочувствована зря. То есть, если вы, допустим, прошли через какую-то боль, но это стало для вас определенной миссией, вы прошли через эту боль не зря. И вот у меня такое было чувство, то, что вот не зря я это сделала, не зря потратила столько времени, столько, не только энергии, но и столько здоровья, ребят, потому что у меня сейчас зрение 10%. То есть я вижу 10% от всего. То есть вы видите 100%, я вижу 10%. Can you imagine? То есть я сижу, и без очков я не увидела вот тут, что тут сидит айолом, да, даже когда вы зашли в комнату, я только примерно по вашему силуэту поняла, что это Мансор, что это Мирей, а вот так вот я бы не увидела. И вот когда ты понимаешь, что, come on, people are seeing this, and we're seeing this mission, and this mission is living in people, it's amazing. Потому что, в конце концов, успех — это не про деньги, потому что мы думаем, да, то, что когда, вот я честно думала, что когда я вот куплю вот такую-то машину, я буду рада, но оказывается, ребята, когда радость бывает только когда ты покупаешь свою первую машину. У меня, когда я купила Hyundai Tucson, у меня была неимоверная радость, я была так счастлива, была так рада, но когда купила вторую машину Lexus 600, я не была настолько сильно рада, я думала, просто средство передвижения и все. И такое же чувство, когда ты покупаешь, знаете, брендовые сумки, whatever, it doesn't bring happiness, это не успех, это не измерение успеха. Измерение успеха не является количество подписчиков, количество лайков. Измерение успеха — это твое влияние на общество, на социум. Я считаю то, что каждый человек, который сидит за этим столом, он является очень успешным, потому что может показаться то, что вот вы набрали 8.5, очень многие люди шумели, вас поздравляли все, вы были в центре внимания ваших друзей, ваших родственников, соответственно, и медиа, да, потому что вас снимали казахстанская медиа и так далее. Вы можете чувствовать то, что, вот такая вот звездность, она появилась, и как будто все вот внимание ушло, потому что прошло уже больше месяца, да, после вашего балла, и может показаться то, что, какое-то чувство опустошения после этого балла, то, что, получила внимание, вот как будто все закончилось, но на самом деле это не так, потому что ваш импакт, вы не видите, ребят, но если бы вы жили бы с нами в нашем офисе, вы видели бы тот импакт, который вы даете нашей молодежи, и я не перестаю об этом говорить, потому что это прекрасно, когда молодежь вдохновляет оставшуюся молодежь делать что-то больше, потому что ваш балл — это не просто про ваш собственный балл, это не просто про ваш собственный результат, это про нечто большее, это про нечто, знаете, больше вдохновляющее, потому что меня смотрят очень многие подростки, и ваши сертификаты, я знаю то, что у кого-то на, знаете, доска визуализации, ваш сертификат на чьей-то доске визуализации, вот честно, потому что ко мне подошла недавно моя знакомая на Model United Nations, и она показывает мне свои обои. На ее обоях сертификаты Султан, Шарипы, Мирей и Айолом. Она говорит, что я визуализирую, я хочу получить такие же баллы, как вы, потому что это очень ценно. Мансур, допустим, ваша 8, Айолом ваша 7,5 является источником вдохновения одного студента. Если вы смогли вдохновить одного студента, который, вот сломается, но они видят ваш сертификат, и они говорят, что вот, я тоже хочу тебе такой сертификат, Айолум смогла, Мансур смог, Мирей, Айолум смогли, я тоже смогу. Вот это вот, на самом деле, то, что драйвит наш комьюнити, я думаю. И ваш импакт, он очень огромный, потому что я это чувствую, я в этой сфере, я это чувствую каждый день, поэтому всегда стараемся, ребят, для тех людей, которые спрашивают, зачем постить, да, Айола, Мирей по 1045 раз, потому что это может стать толчком вдохновения для одного студента, и этого нам достаточно, чтобы постить наших success stories, наших кейсов по 1045 раз. Теперь, ребята, я хочу услышать от вас одно предложение, одну фразу, которая поможет нашим студентам, кандидатам, сдающим этот экзамен, вдохновиться, возможно, либо же, знаете, это может быть техника, может быть вдохновляющая, мотивационная фраза. Одна фраза, одно предложение нашим студентам. У каждого есть своя камера, можете посмотреть на камеру и произнести эту фразу.
I thought about this before coming to this podcast, and I would say, look into the future and think about your feelings. And if you don't work hard enough right now, in the future, you'll feel this gross regret of not doing enough work, even though you knew you could. You don't want to feel that.
Thank you so much, Mirey. Mansur?
I want to tell that you don't need to be a genius to score a high score. You should just be enough. You should just enough be brave to try, and enough discipline to keep going. Yeah. So I would say everything is possible. You can do everything that you want.
Right, guys, because Bruce Lee said a great warrior is not a person who is a genius in fighting. They are a person who had a laser-like focus. Because true, laser-like focus, concentration, determination, and the ability to say, I'm gonna get this no matter what, that is what is important. Thank you so much, Mansur. Ayolum?
Remember, if the person who will win is not you, then it will be the other person. So keep moving and push harder as much as you can.
Thank you so much.
The one piece of advice that I want to share is that consistency matters the most. You don't need to be perfect. And what I recommend truly is to distribute your tasks to every day, to every week, and execute them properly. Even though you're not feeling good, even though you're not feeling motivated enough, you just do it and then you'll see the results. And yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. I want to round up this conversation because people who have watched the first podcast, guys, maybe you've seen the difference and the depth of the conversation that we had, because truly this conversation was really insightful. I hope that the viewers are going to find it really useful. We wish you all the best, guys, because this podcast has an aura of high achievers, guys. All of the high achievers are looking into one camera, guys. We're all wishing you luck. We're all wishing you all the best. And thank you so much for watching. See you soon.